Mike, I just want to ask you just about that night. What happened?
What happened that night, the upshot of the thing, and the biggest part of the controversy is I don't remember some of it. I don't remember the actual violations. I was at the Veterans of Foreign Wars with my wife. We're both members there for life. I mean, we've been members there since in the 60s. And I'm a past state commander and post commander, just to know most of the people there. We were just entertaining, having a good time, having a few drinks, and my wife got into trouble. She went into the bingo hall, and I guess she was kidding around or playing around. Somebody got mad, and so-and-so told so-and-so something. And the ex-commander that was there decided that he was going to do something about it, and he threw her out. Which he has every right to do, but it's happened twice now. And I thought at the time, and I still think now, that he had an ulterior motive of what he did. So make a long story short, I sat there, my wife come back in, and she was crying real hard. And I asked her what happened, and she told me, and her sister came in, who's a member there also, and we talked, and, you know, tried to get things settled down. And I told my wife that I was going to go home because there was no reason for any of this to happen. Just get away, go somewhere else. And she didn't want to. She wanted to talk to her sister. Well, this has happened once before, and it drove my wife to a situation where her nerves were gone. She had a nervous breakdown, basically. And he was the cause of it. And it happened again. And I couldn't really handle that. I went home. I went with my wife. I couldn't get a hold of her. So I was going to go back to get her. Well, unfortunately, I had the .357 Magnum in the truck. About everybody I know carries a gun now because it's just a good idea because somebody were to break in or that kind of thing. But this is a very big cannon. It's a big gun. And I went back down there just to get my wife. I didn't go down there to do anybody any harm or scare anybody or anything like that. I just wanted to get my wife. And I told them at the door, I just want to get my wife. And they kept telling me, no, you can't come in. And I basically come down to the three of us stand there on the door, and this gentleman was moving left and right about behind the door and at me, and he had a gun in his hand. And I kept looking at him jumping out behind that door with that gun down by his side, and I pulled my gun out, and I watched him jump out, and I stuck up there and I shot him. I know it's the wrong thing to do, obviously, because they've got me now looking at 20 to 40-year charges. But I've never been in jail for anything. That's what's funny. I've never had a speeding ticket, a parking ticket, nothing. This first, had no experience with jails. I have friends that are policemen. I have relatives. My grandson's a cop, a state policeman. So I obey the laws. I do. I believe the laws are there to be obeyed, and you have to compensate and fit into the situation. And I have for, well, I'm 71, so 50 years of my adult life, I've managed to go along without ever being arrested for anything or receiving a ticket, anything like that, until this night. Now that is a pretty radical switch in personalities. Now, we did not go to trial thinking anything about post-traumatic stress or any of that, but I am rated 100% by the Veterans Administration disabled, and I'm for post-traumatic stress syndrome. I'm sure during the appeal process this is going to come up. But that's the nuts of it, the gist of it. When I got to the VFW, this particular guy, the same guy, would not allow me into the back door to check on my wife, and that's the gentleman that I popped. And I went around this business to the front door, and I came in. I was talking to the little old lady. I love them, the little old lady, so sweet at that bingo. They play, oh, they're so hard. They play so hard at that game. And I used to just run around there and tease the devil out of them. And I worked it for almost 50 years. I was relieved, too, by this gentleman. But that's all right. I went around to the front, and I sat out there and talked to these little old ladies as they were leaving, trying to calm them down from that gunshot. They sounded like a cannon indoors. And I went on in. I was going to ask my buddy Paul DuPont, who I've known for 50 years. I signed him up. I recruited him as a member. And I've sponsored him, walked with him for many, many years. And he's a good, honest guy. He runs our bingo. And the Coliseums, too, by the way. So I trust what he said. And I wanted to talk to him. That's what the last incident happened when they attacked me with a spatula. This is not a spatula, as you know it. It's a big, long metal instrument, heavy, 4 or 5 pounds. And it's used to smash hamburgers. She popped me right in the eye with it, boy. Knocked me colder than the devil. I was beat up by a woman with a spatula. It's funny, but it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's basically it.
So the post-traumatic stress, was that from
Vietnam.
Vietnam?
Yeah.
Okay.
I worked for the Veterans Administration and the state of Indiana for 20-some years in Veterans Benefits Counselor. And it was really transference on my part. It's not really got bad till I retired. Once I got out of working with veterans, I lost it. Seriously, I did 4 episodes since I retired, when I actually ended up medicated and somewhere out of Danville, Illinois.
So you have been on medication for?
Oh yes, yes, and internal treating programs, locked up.
It was the sight of that gun, the seeing that gun is what?
It was him with that gun in that building. I'll tell you the truth. I've been there for 50-some odd years, and one time is all that a man ever brought a weapon in there. And he killed his wife and a few other things, but that's the only time. And we've had a no weapon rule in there forever. Had a sign on that door that said no weapons, because every veteran I know hunts or fishes or something. And we've all, pretty well, all of us got guns. I had quite a few guns, actually. But they were all just guns. I mean, gun doesn't kill people, people kill people. And I had never in my life drawn a gun on anybody since January of 1968, when I returned from Vietnam. Never drawn a gun on anybody in this town. I showed it to one guy once and just told him to get the hell away from it, and it was enough. But I didn't take it out of the holster. And this time I took it out of the holster and went into that low combat stance and went around the post.
Was this a regular guy with a gun? Was it like a bouncer or somebody who was trying to...
No, he's past commander.
Okay.
He and his wife were involved there. And he was there. She works the bingo. Everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people work at bingo. And it's a little money-making proposition. You know, you run that bingo, you pick it up $250 a month extra each person. So if your wife works it, that's $500 a month.
Sure.
So he's down there, and he what you call works. The problem is he drinks so much. Oh, man, I just couldn't hardly stand that. I mean, I don't mind a drinker, but he drinks when he's in authority.
Was he waving the gun around, or was he just showing?
He wasn't waving around. He had it stuck to his right leg. His arm was down to the side of his leg with the gun, and he was trying to hide it from the camera by holding it down. Like he didn't. But the bad thing about it was it kept flashing in my mind. He came out behind that door with his right hand down like that, and I'm trying to dance back behind him. I'm left-handed. And finally, the only thing I could do was wait for him to come out. And when he jumped out, I really did. I shot the man.
Do you think that he wanted you to see the gun?
I think he was trying to intimidate me with the gun. Do
you think that he might have known that you had a gun?
Well, I didn't even know I had my gun. It was in front of me and aimed directly at him. But it's obvious I wasn't trying to kill anybody because I didn't shoot him in the chest. I mean, I was 2 feet away from him, man, and I could have shot him in the one I wanted to, and I chose the side down.
What made you want to shoot him?
Well, outside of the fact he was intimidating me, I thought he was going to shoot me. I really thought if I took my game off of this man and turned, he's going to throw a shot at me. And that would have given him the free shot, you want to call it that, the first shot, and I wasn't going to have that. I had to get away from him. I had to get away from there so I could go to the other door and find my wife. And I couldn't because he had that gun pointed at me. And it was pointed at me, and all he had to do was pick it up and shoot, bam. And he could have done it just that quick, pop, and I would have been in trouble. But I've handled a gun before. I've had people at gunpoint. And I understand the basic philosophy behind this. You throw a gun up at somebody, you're either, one, carrying that gun for personal protection, and you're taking an action to do that, and you're going to shoot. Because if you carry a gun and you draw it and you're not willing to use it, somebody's going to take it away from you and beat your butt. If you're going to use it, use it. And he was dancing around with his gun in front of me like he was, what, I don't know, a cop or something like that. And I didn't try to kill him. All I wanted to do was to slow him down long enough for me to get away and change his attitude. You know, he had a growled up look about him until I put a little hole in him. And then he started looking pretty lame.
You said this happened in the doorway?
Yeah, the back doorway, yeah.
Okay.
There's the service entrance to the kitchen. Right there, the freezers.
When you shot, was there any thought that, there's a lot of people here?
No sweat. The entire back area behind him was covered by big, huge walk-in freezers. And there wasn't anybody in any of the freezers. All the doors were closed. It was closing time. Or they were locked up. There was nobody. There was no chance that a bullet could have penetrated anything. Concrete block wall behind him, and there's 2 walls of stainless steel with insulation in it. So no, there was no way. The bullet, matter of fact, didn't penetrate him completely.
And in your opinion, that man should not have had that gun in there?
Most definitely. Most definitely. If he'd have come at me with his hands open, we'd have shook hands. I mean, I never really hurt this man in any way, shape, or form. I didn't have a lot of what do you want to say here? I wasn't one of his big backers because I didn't like his management style. I didn't like the way he beat people down and downgraded them and stuff like that. And he'd sit there and got drunk on beer every day. But that's his business. He can do that. Then they elected him. That's their business. But at the same time, I didn't have to like him, so I didn't. I said I moved away from him and things like that. I didn't want to engage him in conversation. And then we got along. But this way, when I opened that door up and he's standing with his wife, funny thing is, she's the one holding the door open for him to get shot. Figure that out. And I definitely don't admire the individual, but he does do his job. I mean, he's done his job well enough to be an all-American commander, which is quite a thing. And now he's a district commander in the 8th District here in Indiana. He's going up the chain of command, but that's his business,
Have you ever known him to have a gun there before?
Well, I suspected that. Of course, I've had a gun there before, We just don't show them off. You don't ever do that. I'd say probably half the people that are there have gun permits. Probably.
Why do you think he was doing? Do you think he was just trying to get you to leave, or?
I think it might have been part involved in my wife. Still, I mean, I really think he had something to do with this. It's a personal thing. I mean, television here, you got nothing unless you start new Dark Shadows or something. I try to stay away from that, to be honest with you, because I had a personal confrontation with him because of my wife. But the sight of that gun really did. I'm good up to there. Then after that, my recollection shot. It's just automatic action. That's where the Vietnam combat stress and all takes off. I went through the parking lot, and I was doing it at a low position, and there was a guy out there that's 6'2", about 350 pounds, big, huge fellow. And I told him, get away from me. I just flat told him, get away. I don't want you anywhere near me, and I definitely don't want you crawling up behind me back there. And I walked between them rows of cars, keep thinking about him coming out of one of those cars at me. And then they actually started, to me in my mind, they were tree trunks. It's funny because I can look at it now and remember, it looked just like I was going through the woods. To me, only there were cars. I was looking to see what angle I would go to and all kinds of stuff. What we normally did in a patrol was that I sat down out front, and the curious part is, did you ever go to the Lowe's Theater? Is it redone for, say it's part of the school now on Main Street maybe. Well, anyway, it had red velvet curtains, and they used to at intermittent, they would throw on all those lights and everything was red. And that's the way it was that night. When I sat there, it was like everything was curtains and bright red. And I saw my mom and dad and their dad. I saw them just as plain as if I was, and my wife and my baby, I saw them, they're very much alive. And then 3 other GIs and stuff. I had a flashback, a legitimate, honest. I saw 3 guys that are dead. They died in Vietnam, all three of them. But they come and took a knee to me, like I was their sergeant still, you know, and I reached out to touch one, and it was like he reached out to touch me, and then we disappeared. It was sad. It was so sad. And I was bawling and crying. I missed my wife. I thought she was still in the bingo hall, so I went down there and started talking to the little old ladies, and I got in trouble because somebody started beating on me with a damn spatula. And I tried to fire the gun in the air, and then finally on the third shot, bam, I got it to go up in the air. I'm sitting here handcuffed, sorry. It was, it's probably a cop-out to say this, but it was beyond my control. It really was. It was something that I don't think I had much to do with it. And then if I look at it in detail, I take little pieces of it and take it apart. It probably was something I needed to do. I don't mean I needed to shoot somebody. That's not what I'm talking about. But the fact that I was there and trying to find my wife, I left her there. Now this is what brought me back to the VFW. I left her there and I started home, and we have dogs at home, and I was going home to feed them. And I started to think that, you know, I left her there exposed to this, and I should have. I've been married for 51 years to the same woman. And I love her today like the day I married her. And I went to her. I should have stayed with her and never left her in that environment. But she wanted to talk to her sister, and I did because of that. So I went back to get her, and I tried very hard to get in that hall to get her. I did. And it just got way blown out of proportion. Someone from the parking lot come running in and yelling and carrying on, and they took it as some kind of terrorist thing. I don't know what, but I'm not a terrorist. No way. This was not a terrorist act. This wasn't really a personal act. This was something that, I and my brain had to do. That's post-traumatic stress, I guess.
So you fired a shot that hit that man, and did you fire a shot again later?
No, I fired one in the air, one in the ceiling. I shot an air conditioning unit or something. No, I fired around into the ceiling. I was trying to get these people off of me. My head was split open, and I couldn't see out of one eye.
So there was one shot?
One shot, that's it. I fired 2 times. One at him and one in the air.
When you fired it in the air, that's the one that hit him?
No, the first round hit him. Our confrontation was closer than you and I.
Okay.
He was coming in out behind the door like this with a gun, and I finally got scared of him, and I didn't kill him. I didn't try to kill him. You can tell where I shot him. I didn't try to kill him.
I would ask, you know, knowing what you know now, was it worth it?
No, ever, not ever. Not even for my wife, because she'd gotten a ride home with somebody else. So all this was a futile effort. No, there's no way will I ever sit here and say shooting another person was, no. It's the wrong thing to do. But the point is, it was like it was beyond my control. It was. When I was coming around the buildings after I met him, it was as combat as you can get. I mean, if somebody had jumped out behind one of them cars, I would hate to think what would happen, because I was on edge, just 100%. It was a bad situation, I know, and I'm going to pay for it. A lot of years.
All right, Mike, anything else you want to tell us?
No, I'd just like to say that I'm sorry for what I did. I'm sorry I hurt another human being. I'm glad that it at least came out like it did. He has some scars. I hope there's no lasting damage. I really do. I really hope that there's no permanent damage to the man, or his wife for that matter. I didn't want to shoot anybody. I just wanted my wife back. Thank you.